Hey, welcome back to the Rod Pedersen Show. Football Friday here on a great day, and really want to thank the commish, Randy Ambrosi, for taking time out of his busy day, meeting with the media, meeting with the riders here over at Mosaic Stadium today, and he'll meet with fans tomorrow over at the stadium. But a real treat now. Frenzy has slid over a chair, still here, and Tim Reid joins us in the bunker. How are you this morning, Tim?
I'm doing great. Thanks for the opportunity, as always.
Tim comes in from EVRAZ, and the whole facility down there are going to put on a great Cup experience in Regina in 2020. But I want to go back because I teased it in the last segment. We talked about that playoff format. Were you listening to that interview with Randy?
Well, actually, I was there talking to Randy about it 20 minutes ago at the Grey Cup announcement.
So, John, you understand it now, right? A little bit more?
A little bit more. That's about being generous.
Originally, when it came out, I think it was in Ottawa when they first started talking about it with the fans bringing it up, I just thought they would put all 9 teams into a hat, go 1 to 9, and pick the best 6 teams for the playoffs. And I'm like, I don't know that I'm really on board. This is more of just a modified crossover, is it not?
It sounds like it to me. I'm not sure that I fully understand it. But
like, instead of one team having the ability to cross over, they're having everybody have an opportunity. Still the top team gets the bye, right?
Yes.
And then everybody else goes in East and West, right?
Well, it doesn't, though. That's not.
That's it.
They say it goes 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th. I'm saying what happens to the second place team?
No. When you say 3rd, 4th, 5th, that's in the entire league.
Yeah.
The top 2 teams get the byes, 1 and 2.
Okay.
But they're actually the top team from each West, East, and West.
Okay.
So the top from the East, top from the West are your first 2 teams that get byes, and then it goes with the next best teams, right? We'll have your, if it's a Western representative in the 3rd spot, right? They'll end up with playing in the West.
When you think about the way the playoffs have been in the last few years, and the West has been so strong, and it has been that way, truthfully, right? So if you got a strong East or a strong West, let's the best teams play. There's something to that that's pretty good.
And to be honest, it's probably going to end up pretty similar to what we have now
I think
in terms of teams making the playoffs.
Right.
It just allows for a second team, essentially, that would cross over to make it into the playoffs. It doesn't automatically give that second place team in the East a home playoff game.
Tim, where after you've had that done and the 3rd and 4th and 5th and 6th have played off, the winner is going to invite one of the top 2 teams to the Grey Cup and play them. That's quite a. What do they mean by that?
Well, not to the Grey Cup.
Who are you going to invite over? I mean, I don't know, huh?
You still got to win your East and West final to get to the Grey Cup.
I know you know, but then you're going to invite one of those 2 teams that's on a bye.
But potentially, if you finish in first, you can choose your opponent in the playoffs.
You can choose your opponent.
That's interesting.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not a traditional way to do it.
Very controversial. You'll get a lot of controversy over that when it happens at the time, eh?
Oh yeah.
But you look at other leagues. Look at the NFL this year. I mean, would you have wanted to play Tennessee? No, not a chance. If you could pick anybody but Tennessee, you probably would. And you see that in the CFL every now and then. That you get a low-ranked team that ends up getting healthy late in the season. All of a sudden, they're competitive. And
every year you get that happening.
Yeah, for sure. That's what makes it so interesting. And you're right. There's some strategy in that, which is interesting and probably healthy for the league to think about.
Well, it makes it so much more fun, I think. And can you imagine the television ratings on a Saturday night or a Friday night when they're going to announce John Huffnagel's going to come up to the mic and announce who they're going to play in the opening round of the playoffs?
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
And you know what? It gives the home team or the top 2 seeds advantages because all of a sudden they can game plan in that bye week against who they're going to play, right?
Yeah.
And so now it allows their coaching staff to get maybe a week, perhaps 2 weeks ahead of everybody else. So first place now matters perhaps more than ever. So it's interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. We'll see how that goes. So you were down there with Randy this morning?
Yeah, we were at the press conference this morning with the riders and their team and in the Harvard Lounge doing a little bit of a celebration.
What were some of the takeaways from the press conference?
I think just really want to recognize the Rough Riders. I think to Craig and to Mike, the Grey Cup executive director, they've done a really good job of realizing this is about a festival. Yeah. You know, more and more we see sports, it's not about a game. The game's kind of what you have in the background. And although the Grey Cup is the flagship event, this is about a 7-day celebration that we're going to spend the next 8 months getting ready for.
Yeah, and you've got the Grey Cup Festival pin on right now.
I do.
So where are things at in terms of the planning session now? Because I know people have been hired, the committee's put in place, and they're working hard to make sure that everything's ready to go.
Well, they announced some really exciting partnerships today. One partnership with Richardson Pioneer and one with NextGen. And I think what I took away from it was this is really about, we want everybody to participate. So not just those that can afford a ticket. We want to have free activities and sports activities and entertainment activities and music and football and everything in between. So it really is something for everybody. And I think to the credit of the Rough Riders and really the CFL, they've recognized that this has to be a festival. And on our 102-acre campus, this is going to be done like I don't think we've seen in the CFL. So we're really excited to partner with them on it.
Now, the big thing, of course, is what we talked about when you came in here, winning. We want to be in that game. The Riders want to win it. Was that feeling there prevalent today?
Yeah, it was for sure. I would say I think every week there's a Riders game we think we're winning the Grey Cup, at least in my 2 years here. And so I think to the credit of the Riders, they've recognized the pressure that was there, whether it was Mayor Fougier or leadership from the province. Everybody recognized that the expectations are high, I think, and that there was a sense that we need to win, and we want to have a little bit of green in the Grey Cup this year.
Do you say 102-acre campus?
Yeah.
Like, it's amazing. It's going to be special. I mean, to have everything all in one place, how can people really understand how big this is? I mean, to have everything there and not have to move all around town and travel and do different things.
Well, I mean, I worked in the Grey Cup committee when I was in Edmonton, and I attended Grey Cup this year, and I've attended Grey Cup everywhere, I think. And the reality of it is I don't know. Part of the challenge you always have is I got to grab an Uber, I'm going to take a taxi, or how do I find public transit? In this case, you just show up and spend the day. And what I think is so great about it is no matter what you want to experience, you can be there for the day. And that doesn't mean that you're still not going to go to restaurants and bars downtown or catch a movie or do whatever you're doing when you're visiting a new place. But once you go for football or for Grey Cup, you're coming to the EVRAZ Place campus, and that is going to be fantastic for our guests, and like for our local communities, can be even better.
It's always fun, and there's so many great spots there. How much is going to be outside? Anything outside, inside?
Yeah.
What's it going to look like?
Yeah, you know what? From an example standpoint, those of us that attended the Heritage Classic, and so the Tim Hortons NHL Heritage Classic had that great fan experience out in Confederation Park, and then it bled into the parking lot, and I think the Rough Riders taken a lot from that, and I think the CFL have, and so their model is very similar to that, even bigger in many cases. So there's going to be outdoor experience, and then obviously indoors, the Cooperators, the Affinity Plex, the brand new ITC, all of that will be programmed.
Now the entertainment now, the big show, halftime, Grey Cup, it's going to be extra special. I'm thinking of the Super Bowl. I just watched it, but I mean, it's great to have those kind of shows.
Well, if you listen to the league's ratings from last year, when Keith Urban played, halftime ratings spiked, and no different than all of us that turned in to see Shakira, right? At the end of the day, whether you're a fan or not of the artist, that show was spectacular. And I think the Grey Cup and I think the CFL have done a really good job of that in the last number of years with the halftime show. Keith Urban, I think, took it to a whole new level, and I think the expectations are there. And certainly what I've heard is they're going to do their best to find similar types of talent. Obviously, we'll see what's routing and what's available, but I was there for Keith Urban last year in Calgary, and I thought that was the best halftime show that I've seen in a long time.
That was cool. What's your show? I mean, you have so many acts coming into the Brand Center. I always see it on your Twitter feed, too. I can't help but be envious. Do you get to many of them? I know when you're working in it, it's kind of not quite the same, but what's been your show, your favorite so far?
Probably, well, I mean, to me, I think Garth Brooks, as challenging as that thunderstorm was, and the lightning, and that day where he took stage, and the water's pouring off the roof, and we got riggers up on the top of his stage 150 feet in the air trying to get the water off, and then he took to the stage, and that was probably my best music moment. When we talk indoor at the Brand Center, I mean, every show is unique in its own way. I always say, for me, there's a moment where the crowd is crazy, and I just find a place to stand and just watch. And it's like the most silent moment of an event. And kind of have this moment where you go, yeah, we're going to get through this one. Yeah. and they're all good. So I'm a fan. I'm a sports fan. I'm an entertainment fan. So I love going to work every day. Well, it's a big topic right now in Saskatoon about, a new arena. And I know it's a topic here, a new arena. And with Mosaic Stadium, and you're getting Garth Brooks, but we can't attract the top talent to the Brand Center because it's just not big enough. We can't attract the top talent necessarily to Saskatoon because the building's not new enough. So you guys are getting excited about some new plans over there, aren't you? Well, yeah, and if you think about Old Dominion that just came through town, we sold out. So we're at 6,000 seats, whatever it was. They play in Calgary the next day for 14,000. Yeah. And so reality of it is we were fortunate to book them on the routing that they did, but they're likely not coming back to play another 5,000 or 6,000 seat venue. So to the concept of Branson, I think what our boards realized is it's a 42-year-old building. We did a great job working with the city on making sure that it looked good on camera for the Memorial Cup.
Yeah.
But for any of us that have been down to the bones of that building, it's not what a modern-day arena is. And I can say that working at Rexall Place. You know, we had a fantastic arena, one with great character, but when Rogers Place opened in downtown Edmonton, it was a whole new ball game.
Yeah, Donna's watching on Facebook, says, love the Garth Brooks, Storm, etc. It was all great. Brad writes in, he says, how are Grey Cup tickets selling? He says he passed on his. He felt it was a little bit ridiculous to pay more than half what my season ticket cost for one Grey Cup, but it's the reality we're in. Having that game in the most rabid CFL market in the country, prices are going to be high. I mean, we know what they were at the Super Bowl. How were ticket sales?
Yeah, I sit on the oversight committee for the Grey Cup, and we got an update from the team yesterday, and general sentiment was really positive. It sounded to me like sponsorship was strong, ticket sales were strong, in-market ticket sales from our existing ticket holders. Yeah. So certainly the message that we received, and I'm not sure that I have the details, but there wasn't any risk. Everybody sounded positive about it.
How about you and Regina? Are you enjoying it, coming over from Edmonton?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, now that we're settled and we have a home and our kids go to hockey practice on Sunday, and you
don't have the Oilers though.
Practice. We don't have the Oilers, not yet. But who knows? Maybe we'll work on another outdoor game and see if we can't get McDavid to skate around out there one of these days.
So Clark's writing in on the prompter. He says, with comparison to Edmonton, would a new entertainment facility / hockey arena come with more upgrades and additions to the arena as well, to the area? Sorry.
Yeah, I think actually to that question, that's exactly where we have to go.
Yeah.
And when you look at, there's about 20 other communities that have spent more than $300 million on a stadium and an arena in North America, and very few of them look like us. You know, the model that we used to work on was big buildings surrounded by a sea of parking. And I know parking is a sensitive issue here because I experience it when I take my kids to hockey practice on the weekends. Reality of it is we need to commercialize our site. We need people to come earlier, we need them to stay later, and we need a better experience, because it's not only about the football game or the hockey game or the concert anymore. It's about how do I maximize what happens pre-event, post-event, and make people walk away with the best memories, best experiences possible. So to that, I think that's where we have to go. Obviously, scalable is important, but it has to be a Regina version of Lansdowne in Ottawa or the Ice District in Edmonton or whatever we're going to see in Calgary with their new developments.
Yeah, it has to be. Public transit becomes a big part of it, and I know we're in a world now, right? If we don't get the app up in like a millisecond, we're frustrated, right? If everything's not happening now, we're upset. So nobody really wants to wait 40 minutes for the bus, or if you miss it by 2 minutes, wait another hour. Yeah. So we got to find a way to have that keep up, but also we don't have the population that can sustain a big city transit system. So it's a challenge that, and I know you guys are probably watching that closely because it's a big part of the district and the Grey Cup Festival.
But you know what we do have? We have the reality that, we're 2 kilometers from the airport. We're 2 kilometers from downtown. I don't have to drive 40 minutes to take my kids to hockey practice on the weekend like I did in Edmonton. It's 15 minutes from anywhere in the city to EVRAZ Place. So whether you're coming out for hockey practice or soccer practice or frankly just see a show, we're close. And we've also got these great districts around us, and we've got the downtown with this great experience down there. We got the warehouse district that's starting to evolve, and so I think it might be connectivity to other parts of our community. We'd love you to go down and hang out in the warehouse district, or go down for dinner and then come over for a concert or a game. That's really important, and we're not far away from other really critical parts of our city.
That's one thing that businesses have done really well in Saskatchewan. I know mainly in Regina and Saskatoon is setting up their own transit. So whether it's a bar or whether it's a warehouse district, and say, hey, we've got buses going to the Rider game, so come hang out with us first, and then we'll send you on the bus to go to the game for free. So that stuff's really cool.
Yeah, and I think when we talk about how we move people in the city, that becomes more important. We hear it often with council about how do we create connectivity. We're obviously a champion of that. We have 3.5 million people that come to our site every year. We need to talk about public transit in a different way.
Another one from Clark here. Oh, you just lost it. It was off. He asked about the outdoor games, the Heritage Classic, and how that's increased the attention on the new stadium.
Yeah, well, I actually think as we've been looking for what comes next, when we go out to the marketplace saying, hey, will you bring your event, or we have the right to bid on an event, the Heritage Classic is top of mind. And the other part of it is when you see the positive response we had around that outdoor game. We just finished a game and another outdoor game, and I think it shed some light on how challenging those games can be. And I was so proud of our team, more importantly of our community, for how we represented ourselves, and it was a game changer.
How about accommodation? It's still a bit of a problem, isn't it?
Yeah, in terms of hotels.
Yeah, that's coming up on the text line and on the Facebook feed for sure.
Not enough hotels?
I think at peak times we never have enough hotels.
For sure.
And here's what I would say around hotels. I think our hotel industry, if you look at them on how they position on a national rating scale, they're struggling at the lower end of occupancy. And so, do we need a whole bunch more hotels? I think that's a private sector question. But the reality of it is our hoteliers do a magnificent job when we're full. And everybody has a great experience, and they should be full. We host these big events to fill our hotels, to fill our restaurants, and it's doing exactly what it's supposed to. So do we need more? I'm not sure. I know we struggle on a day-to-day. At a peak event, we should be full, and I think our hoteliers deserve those opportunities to be successful.
Awesome. What's on your plate on your immediate future when it comes to this and other things?
Our big push is now that our board of directors have launched our new 2.0 strategy, which is about how do we commercialize our site. We're working with some existing lease opportunities, and hopefully we'll be in front of council soon to ask them if we can build some new aspects to our campus and partner with the private
Awesome.
sector.
Awesome, Tim. Appreciate you taking some time to come in.
Yeah, happy to do it. Thanks for the opportunity.
No, we're really excited for the Grey Cup and everything that's coming here in Regina.
Yeah, we are too.
Exciting time. All right, we got to take a break. We'll be back with more here on the program. The Rod Pedersen Show on a Football Friday on Facebook Live, and listen live at rodpedersen.com.
You're watching Rod Pedersen on demand. For more of The Rod Pedersen Show, visit rodpedersen.com or follow Rod Pedersen on social media.